Hi, this is Scott from SaaS Startup Stories, and today's show is sponsored by ActiveCampaign, the world's #1 email marketing and automation platform, and the system that I use to run my entire business. If you'd like to get started with ActiveCampaign and take advantage of the best current promo they're running, then just go over to scottdudley.com/AC and fill out the form. Today, my special guest is Michael Ramirez. Michael is based in Austin, Texas, and he's the founder and CEO at evisio, which is an SEO management platform for teams that want to get more done. Michael, you ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready. Can you hear me okay? And we're all good on the audio video?
Can hear you great. Let's get started.
Let's do it.
All right, so let's begin with your background and what initially got you interested in starting a SaaS company.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what got me into SaaS is I ran a consulting company for a good while, an SEO consulting company. So it started back in 2012. The name of it was Search RPM, and I still run the business. I still have clients that I consult for on the SEO front. But at that time, business started to actually increase, and I started noticing some of our productivity started to decrease. And so the challenge there was, how to obviously scale SEO with the focus of, maintaining quality. And we had so many different tools that we used at the time. So we had a tool for link building, we had a tool for keyword research, we had a tool for project management, and a lot of these tools didn't really talk to one another. And beyond that, they were hard to translate over to our customer. If our customer asks, what's this report for and why do I need to know about it? What do I care? It took more time to get a client set up, to get them onboarded, to get them on every single tool. And that just was just a waste of time, quite honestly. And a lot of these tools were kind of redundant, and they did a lot of the same things. Whereas our core SEO framework, the things that we did, that no other SEO does, because every SEO, not because they're secretive or anything, because every SEO has their process. We realized that we had our own, and our process could basically be replicated, and we could be automated, as well. And so the consulting company kind of led to just some holes in our process. And I realized that there could be a tool that really just honed in on the important things on the SEO front that we do really well, and could help automate that, and then easily allow our customers to see what's kind of going on behind the curtain, because SEO seems like a magic box to many. And I've heard the story a lot from clients on what, not knowing what their SEO company is actually doing. And for everyone out there, I'm sure you're aware, if you're a founder of SEO, search engine optimization, and either, in a corporation, you run towards that service or away from it because it just turns people off really quickly. But we just really needed an internal tool that helped us, streamline our customer onboarding, created a nice automated process, and allowed us to basically rinse and repeat. If a client was on a retainer, we're able to kind of repeat the services on a monthly basis.
Yeah, sort of an excellent example of solving your own issue and then sharing that with the world, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah, excellent. All right, so was your latest project evisio, was it bootstrapped or did you get VC funding? Tell us how you got that business off the ground.
Yeah, so it's a bootstrap company. We haven't taken any VC money just yet. It was by choice early on, quite honestly. And I think at this current moment too, we're still bootstrapped. I was fortunate enough to have the consulting company to pay for a lot of the development. And as I kind of built a proof of concept, we're able to kind of put that in front of some early customers, get their take on whether, we should pursue this venture or not. I think that was a big help early on. I had really good mentors early on too, who were founders in other successful companies that helped kind of coach me along the way, and thinking should I invest more of my own money into this, or when should I seek kind of VC funding? But right from the jump, and even to today, it's still bootstrap company. We had an early round of friends and family to kind of put some cash in early on, but haven't really taken any VC money. And I feel definitely open to it when the time's right. But I think as a new founder, it's more valuable, at least in my particular case, to go out and test a product with your potential customers and see if it's a good product market fit, and try to find that product market fit before you really start kind of asking for that cash and have things kind of work in reverse. You get the cash and then you're trying to find product market fit. I think that creates a really difficult situation that very few companies come out successfully.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, do it in the right order. Absolutely. So you've already built multiple companies. So would you say there's anything you would change about your approach if you had to do it all over again?
Yeah. This is probably like the best part. I listen to your podcast, and this is the part that I really like listening to with other founders too. It's like, damn it, like what would I have done like before? And I mean, the biggest thing for me is like SaaS is an expensive venture. There's a lot of money in the beginning to get going. And that money is going, for, at least for us, heavily into development. So we have an outsourced development team, back-end engineer, front-end engineer, product manager, and then another part-time kind of front-end person. I think the biggest thing I would probably have changed would be to focus on like smaller tools that we could use as like content promotion or kind of like inbound marketing. So we would build smaller tools. We would, and that's, you know, definitely cost effective because it's not going to cost you a bunch just to make a small SEO tool that you could share on LinkedIn that could get a bunch of like awareness. You could start collecting emails. You could start building a following. You could have an entire community, because now that's where we're kind of like starting. That's part of like our growth strategy, is like building community. Whereas I've encountered some product builders who have built communities first and kind of build slowly in private, quote unquote, like inside their Facebook groups, inside their LinkedIn groups. And they've built a loyal following of folks who like their keyword tools, like their link building tools, and then they start to kind of grow from there. And it must look appetizing to investors because they have a following, they have, you know, customers, they have good retention. So on the books, the metrics probably look great because they built that loyal following early on. And, you know, I knew that kind of early on, but I figured like, I'm gonna build a product that's great enough for everyone. They're just gonna love our product and come to us. But it doesn't happen that way, honestly. And so the community building part is something that I wish I started, even if it was just a little bit, but building smaller traction around like your authority, your name, or resources that you could provide for free.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so how did evisio get its first 10 customers? How did it all begin?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, and yeah, just so everyone knows too, evisio, I started off the idea for evisio back in 2016, 17, and it's been recently launched right around like May this year. So, I mean, we're pretty early. So, I know you had some pretty established, you know, folks on your podcast too. You could get a lot of information from, but if anyone wants to know, just like I'm in the weeds right now of building my first kind of SaaS product. So initially our first customers came from my prior consulting customers who either stopped their services because, you know, they couldn't afford it anymore, or, you know, but they cut budgets. So they didn't have an SEO budget anymore. So I went back to them and said, hey, like I have a solution now where, you know, our price is this. It's not the thousands of dollars a month that you'll pay for a consultant. It's like, it's $79 a month to get your website on there scanned. When things pop up as issues, as an SEO issue, like you could send that note, you could send that issue to me and our team will go ahead and fix it to you. So it's kind of like a la carte thing. It's kind of a thing of an SEO service that you only need when you need it. And so I went directly to those prior customers and I said, I built this tool. It's way more cost effective. You know, you don't need me. It'll alert you whenever you do need me. And typically we'll take care of those things pretty quickly. So the first wave of customers came from prior clients initially. And then kind of moving forward, where some of our new customers are coming from, it's from, you know, things like this. It's building, you know, good partnerships. It's getting featured on podcasts. It's reaching out and creating a authority and presence on LinkedIn. It's we're not doing a lot of like advertising per se, but we're doing a bunch of like content marketing around SEO. So we're creating a bunch of, you know, articles, resource articles on the website. I'm actually in the process now of creating our entire marketing plan for 2023. And it looks a lot like that. I mean, it's consisting of like talking to our customers. It's, continuing to be in the product, having a solid product flow and listening to the customers and building in some of those features that they're asking for. It's doing some of these like live streams, building, like I mentioned, like thought leadership. And I'm literally reading right off of it too. And it's the content strategy that I believe, being an SEO specialist, it's kind of more power to us. And when we build products and how we are able to build content strategy, if that's kind of your thing. And then just having a little bit of time for flexibility and like at the end of every month or every quarter, just kind of having ability to evolve the strategy, evolve the plan. So I feel like that's going to be our next strategy for acquiring new customers. It's more of the, thought leadership, content, and doing more of these, quite honestly.
Yeah, makes sense. Yep. So I'm just curious, is there a lot of competition with SEO management tools? Like, I've never heard of this concept before. It sounds like a fantastic idea. Is there other companies out there doing this?
Thank you for that. So you're right in the sense where there's not many SEO management platforms, but there are a bunch of SEO tools. And that's it, whether we like it or not. Yeah, we're kind of in that competitive SEO tool space. And that's an interesting thing. Early on, I was like, well, let's build this product because one doesn't exist necessarily. And I was like, well, why the hell not? Like, is it because like people have tried and they failed and they're just like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. But the more and more, and that's the important reason why you should, definitely talk to the customer. So we went ahead and did that, right? We talked to some established agencies and they were like, no, this is probably like not for us. And I had to kind of take that and be like, man, I may have like created something that doesn't really have a need. But then as I started to talk to like the spectrum of folks, like early on, like folks that have been in the SEO world, like under 3 years, under 5 years, they absolutely loved it because they don't have like a process yet. They don't know how to get started with, starting an agency. So they need something that scales them up really quickly, gives them the resources and information to pass on to like a developer or a writer and to help them fix a bunch of these SEO issues. So it's like, yeah, like that was the interesting part about it, was just like continuing, doing that first, really. It's just like following, understanding those customers and just kind of following that path there.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. So tell me a bit about the evisio product and how it helps SEO teams.
Yeah, no doubt. Just kind of hit on it a little bit. It's essentially for, early SEO consultants and agencies who are needing a tool to basically like streamline the entire process for managing an SEO account. So if you are doing SEO for anyone, there are certain steps that could be rinsed and repeated. A lot of the tools kind of out there help you. You kind of need to be an expert to understand like the data, what it's the information that it's providing. Then you take that information, then you put it into a project management system, or it just kind of stays in Excel and it just kind of gets lost and, buried in email. But this tool kind of helps to, provide insights for every single website in terms of what it needs to rank in Google. It allows you to basically have those insights and share them with your team. And then as you're, completing those tasks, which is kind of operating like a project management system, your client is able to see and follow the work that's actually being done. So that way there's no like black box. You actually get to see what's going on, the work that's actually being, completed on your site, on their sites, and then the actual results too, based on like the things that are being done. So we're trying to eliminate the whole just like smoke and mirrors of SEO and just trying to show that there is a lot of hard work that goes behind SEO. But it's been, up until this point, it's been really hard to see what's actually like going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so obviously the SEO landscape has changed a lot in the last 20 years. I mean, I can remember a tool called Market Samurai, which I bought, about 12 years ago. And then I just found out recently that they've gone out of business. They don't even exist anymore. So what are the new success measures of SEO with that in mind?
Yeah. I mean, that's, I remember that tool. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. It had like I don't know if it had like a bunch of suite of tools. It had a bunch of just like resources in there that you could use. Yeah, it was a good tool. Sad to hear that. I may have to look up like what happened to them. But yeah, I think some of the success metrics, more than anything, like Google's just getting way, more advanced. Even, I started off in 2008, and I've seen a huge progression in terms of the quality that Google is actually, striving after. So they continue to want quality content. They don't want a lot of content that's written by AI and robots. They still want content tailored towards human beings, by human beings. They want faster loading websites. They want just a good experience of the content that you're going to experience on the first page of Google. So our tool tries to, align a lot of those similar, similar items that Google is actually looking for. And my original thought, like in the beginning, was like, if everyone had a level playing field, let's just say every website, that was, every SEO website, every SEO website had like a basis, like these 10 things you need to have. If every single website had those 10 things, like we would create a basis for like a standard for SEO. Then after that, it'll be like, how good is your content and how good is your like online PR? Like, if all things are considered, like how would Google basically rank different websites if they all started from the same starting point? Like, and you had to focus on content and links as the primary driver of rankings. Like, that's a day I would love and would strive for. And I would love to see one day. It would never happen because these websites are built so differently, and some are on crappy code and some of them are on different CMSs and out of the box platforms. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think what we're trying to do is, create a somewhat of a level playing field to help, website owners understand like there is quality factors behind your website that can be enhanced and help your overall user experience and help search engines as well. Like having a fast loading website and having good content and overall just good online presence. So we're trying to just create that experience to help people get, to a faster starting point, if you would.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, so you've already covered this a little bit, but I'm just sort of wondering or curious, what are the misconceptions you've noticed about SEO and Google?
Yeah, I think that there's a silver bullet to SEO. There's one thing or two things that could really help you get to the top of the rankings. I'm a part of like a pretty good amount of like mastermind groups and folks who talk about live and breathe this stuff every day. And there is no silver bullet, quite honestly. There's some hacks and some tricks and some things that people try out. Most of them are going to be like temporary, like hacks and fixes to get you rankings. But most of the time, that's not going to help build a sustainable brand. So people have different, reasonings on why they build certain websites to grow it, sell it. Or a churn and burn website where they're gonna grow it, they're gonna make money from it from affiliate ads or whatever, and then they're basically don't care what happens to it after Google smacks it with like a penalty. That's not really what we're doing here. We're with the overall like company. We're just trying to help people understand just like that there is no silver bullet. There's a lot of hard work. SEO actually takes a village because it just doesn't come from like Michael Ramirez. You just can't have one person do your SEO. It takes developers, writers, online PR folks, and it also takes buy-in from leadership. They got to know that what you're doing like makes sense if you're taking like development resources away from a specific product or something else. If it's going towards SEO, like they got to know that the actual work is being done and it's actually, improving the bottom line, if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so just to expand on that, what are some of the most powerful ways of adding creativity to an SEO strategy?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be just like having a seamless like workflow. If you could get something like, if you could understand like what needs to be done on your website, you get the right team members kind of looped into that specific task, and then that task kind of is able to get completed because the developer or writer has all the information that they need and everyone's accountable in that specific process, then I think you have a winning strategy, because either some of those factors are actually missing throughout the productivity like chain. Either no one knows what to do, or there's too many scans or too many tools, and then like as good as developers are and writers, like they don't know SEO. So they don't know like, how can I improve this like HTML tag on a page, and someone calls it a canonical tag. It's like no one, I mean, although they understand it, they still don't know the significance or how to actually fix it. So having a proper documentation is extremely important. And then, as I mentioned, just looping in the right stakeholders so that way everyone's accountable, and, you know, SEOs could keep their jobs, they could keep their clients longer. And and I think it's assumed that, you know, clients don't care what's going on. They just want the work done. I disagree with that. I think clients want to know what they're paying for, and it doesn't have to be rocket science, because it isn't. And just having a nice steady workflow is definitely key in a tool that brings everything kind of together. And that's our challenge and what we're working on.
Yeah. So just to clarify, you've got the SaaS side of evisio. Are you still doing SEO for clients, like in a consultancy basis, or are you still doing basic?
Yeah. I'm still doing it. Not as much as I used to, but I'm still taking on, you know, some interesting kind of projects. And honestly, I've had clients that I've been with my consulting company for a really long time, and they won't let me go, and I won't let them go. So we're, you know, it's just kind of an ongoing thing where we've established their SEO and they're doing really well, and they've kind of like see me as their like head of marketing for these projects, which I'm just really close to the company owners, you know, the founders and stuff. So that seems to work pretty well. But yeah, every now and then I'll take on like a client or two. But at this point, you know, I'm not, you know, taking on a bunch. So
the main focus is on the SaaS business.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it has to be. There's just so much time and effort that goes into this.
You can do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So what's the single biggest challenge you believe that new founders are experiencing at the moment with growing SaaS companies?
Oh, man. How long is this podcast again? There could be right. Yeah. Okay. I'll get a short answer. Yeah. I mean, I think just like understanding. So when I started to go full time and invest my time in the product, I think it was like where to put my time. You know, even if you're coming from like a full-time job and then jumping into like a full-time founder, like there's quite a transition that happens there. It's just so different in terms of like, you know, you have your job, you have your, you know, KPIs, you have your goals, you have your managers and your boss, and you kind of know how to spend some of your time. And when you're a newfound founder, it's like, okay, well, where does that time go? Like, what are the things that really matter? And how do I find out what matters? And I think that to me was helped with by having a business coach. And so I hired a business coach who helped me just understand like how to basically, you know, test this experiment, how to properly come up with a, you know, hypothesis, and then go out and test certain things, and then start to refine the things that were really important and hone in on those things, and then start to amplify the things that are really working. And to be honest, like I kind of sucked at operations myself when it came to like the business side of things. And I really needed help with that. And I think the business coach, and you could find, you know, your business, you know, you could probably ask, you know, anyone you trust on LinkedIn, or, you know, to help find a good business coach. But my business coach really helped me just kind of fine tune the operation side to help me spend time in the areas that were going to be really important. So I think that transition it was probably one of the most challenging, but there are solutions.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So what's your favorite business book?
Oh yeah. I do have one, but I do have a few I wanted to share as well. And I wanted to share it with you because I knew you asked this question. Yeah, another one. So the first one, because I am like a new founder, is The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. Yeah, that one's a good one, just because, you know, if you're starting a new business, we usually experience what he calls resistance. And this resistance comes from different forms in terms of like distraction, social media, or it could be like starting another side project that takes your time away from your SaaS company. And it's like what methods and ways you could get beyond that resistance, so you're actually focusing on the product or that book or whatever that actually is. So that book is good. And then Lost and Founder by Rand Fishkin. Obviously he was, one of the co-founders of Moz, and,
Yes,
it's an SEO product. Yeah. Yeah. So he has another startup, I think, called Sparkturo. But this is a book because it pertains directly to kind of what I'm building as well and what I'm experiencing in this niche, if you would. And then The Messy Middle by Scott Velsky. It's just kind of like, all the things. This is a good one because it kind of tells you, it kind of showcases just like everything that kind of goes on between start and like exit, if you would. And like that messy middle, kind of like what I'm experiencing now, and like how you try to figure out like processes and find better ways to build operations and all the thing that goes on in the middle of building a business or a project that no one really talks about. So I think I really needed to hear that lesson, and it helps to just build like tougher skin and have a good kind of outlook during this process.
Okay, I haven't heard of that one. Sounds interesting. All right, so you've sort of just answered the next question, but what are you curious or researching right now regarding SaaS and software? Is there anything other than the messy middle?
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know. I have a lot of interest. I'm trying to fine tune it right now and focusing on the core product, but I am fascinated on like a lot of the AI tools that are out there, building AI content tools and AI image building tools. I've had some folks who are doing some interesting stuff with some of the AI content builders, people that are experimenting and ranking websites with some of that stuff. But eventually, we'll see how good Google's algorithms are, and like, detecting a lot of that content. But it could be extremely helpful, especially in what we do, in terms of providing customized recommendations for like specific websites on different platforms. I think that could be a tool that could be leveraged in our platform, maybe in the future, but maybe it is the future. But I mean, it seems like a super fascinating.
A lot of people, it is. A lot of people have answered with AI when I've asked that question. So that seems to be the hot topic at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly.
Cool. So just to wrap up, where can people go to find out more about evisio?
Absolutely. You could go to evisio.co. That's evisio.co. And you could also just reach me on Twitter at Search Ramirez, or on LinkedIn. It's just Michael Ramirez.
Excellent. All right. Thanks for coming on the show, Michael. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate you.